The air in Alara's garden that morning was unusually still. Not a breath stirred the leaves of the ancient oak that shaded her small cottage. Yet there was a hum, a silent vibration that pulled at something deep within her. She'd felt it before, a whisper on the edge of her awareness, but never quite like this. It was a beckoning. Then they came. Not just one or two, but a sudden flurry, a cascade of wings, a living mosaic of amber and gold, sapphire and emerald, butterflies. They weren't the common cabbage whites or red admirals she usually saw. These were larger, their wings bearing patterns that seemed to shift and shimmer with an inner light, almost iridescent. They moved with a singular purpose, circling her once, twice, a swirling vortex of color and quiet energy, before drifting purposefully towards the edge of her garden, towards the tree line that marked the beginning of the old woods. Alara felt an undeniable pull, a sense of recognition she couldn't place, yet it resonated like a long-forgotten melody. She didn't hesitate. Without a word, she stepped off the worn path, her bare feet meeting the cool, dew-kissed grass. The butterflies moved at a gentle pace, just ahead, almost as if they were waiting for her, guiding her. The woods itself was ancient, its trees standing like quiet sentinels, their branches interwoven to form a high, dappled canopy. Sunlight filtered through in scattered beams, illuminating motes of dust dancing in the air. The usual sounds of the forest, the rustle of unseen creatures, the distant call of a bird, seemed to soften, replaced by the silent flutter of hundreds, then thousands of butterfly wings. Alara walked deeper, the soft earth yielding beneath her steps, a path forming where none had been before, woven by the collective will of her ethereal guides. She noticed as she followed that the butterflies weren't just guiding her, they were gathering. More of them seemed to emerge from the shadows of the ancient trees, joining the vibrant procession. The air around her grew thick with their presence, a living, breathing cloud of beauty. There was no fear, only a profound sense of peace, a feeling of being exactly where she was meant to be, following a thread of destiny she hadn't known existed. After what felt like both an eternity and mere moments, the trees began to thin, and Alara sensed a shift in the energy around her. They were approaching something. The butterflies, now a vast, undulating tapestry of color, began to slow, their purposeful flight giving way to a more deliberate, almost ceremonial movement. They led her into a clearing, a perfectly circular space bathed in a soft, ethereal light that seemed to emanate not from the sun, but from within the woods itself. In the very center of this clearing, Alara stopped. The butterflies, with an exquisite grace, began to arrange themselves. They didn't land on leaves or flowers. Instead, they hovered, their tiny bodies aligning, wings gently fanning, forming a perfect, unbroken circle around her. And then it began. A sound, not a sound really, but a resonance. It rose from the collective being of the butterflies, a gentle, humming chorus that seemed to fill the very air around her, vibrating within her bones. It was a language, she realized, though not one she had ever heard before. It was melodic, ancient, filled with a deep reverence. Alara felt a peculiar shift in her perception, as if a veil had been lifted or a memory unlocked. The words, or rather the essence of the words, began to flow into her mind, not translated, but instinctively understood. The hum deepened, rising and falling in waves, and then, distinct, clear as a bell chiming in the quiet morning, a phrase emerged from the chorus, spoken not in a human tongue, but in a language of pure knowing. "Welcome back." The words settled over Alara not as a question or a command, but a deep, resonant truth. Welcome back. It wasn't about returning from a walk in the woods. It was about returning home, to a state of being, to a knowledge that had always been hers but had been forgotten. In that moment, surrounded by the shimmering circle of butterflies, a lifetime of small anxieties, of feeling slightly out of place, began to dissolve. She wasn't just Ilara living in her cottage, she was part of something larger, ancient, deeply connected to the very pulse of the earth, to the wisdom carried on the wings of these beautiful, ephemeral creatures. A profound sense of peace washed over her, a feeling of being recognized, truly seen for who she was, beyond the surface. The butterflies continued their gentle hum, a quiet confirmation of the words they had uttered. There was no explanation, no grand revelation, just the simple, profound understanding that she belonged, that she had always belonged, and that this return was not just to a place, but to herself. Slowly, the butterflies began to disperse, not fleeing, but gently drifting, some settling on her outstretched hands, others soaring high into the canopy, their light fading slightly as they rejoined the fabric of the forest. Ilara remained for a long time in the clearing, letting the silent understanding permeate her being. When she finally turned to walk back, the path seemed clearer, the air fresher, and the woods, though familiar, now hummed with a different, more vibrant energy. She returned to her garden, the familiar world now seen through new eyes. The ancient oak seemed to nod in knowing silence, and the sun felt warmer on her skin. The experience lingered, not as a dream, but a deep, undeniable truth. The butterflies had called her back, not just to a clearing in the woods, to a deeper understanding of themselves, to a connection that transcends the everyday. It was a reminder that sometimes the most profound answers are whispered on the softest wings, if only we are still enough to listen and open enough to remember. Perhaps, like Ilara, you've had moments or fleeting feelings that hint at a deeper connection, a sense of belonging to something unseen. I invite you to share your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think Ilara's experience truly signifies? And what are the quiet whispers that call to you? If this story resonated with you, please consider following for more tales that explore the gentle mysteries of life.